Good morning and welcome. Muy buenos días y bienvenidos. Welcome to the 2022 HETS Best Practices Showcase, celebrating technology, innovation for Hispanic success in higher education. We are pleased that all presentations at this Best Practice Showcase, including this open plenary, are being transmitted live. On behalf of the Hispanic Educational Technology Service Consortium, we would like to thank you for being with us this morning and welcome all participants connected virtually. My name is Albert Troche, and I will be your host this morning. First, HETS would like to acknowledge the presidents and board members representative of its member institutions from Puerto Rico, the United States, and Colombia. Accompanying us today, to all of you, thank you for sharing this special occasion with us. Likewise, HETS would like to recognize those corporations and organizations that have made this event possible. To our sponsors, Blackboard, the Educational Testing Services, Incumatic, COVIDMEC, Interstaff Inc., Puerto Rico Top Level Domain Ontology, Campus Care, and Café Yaucono. Thank you again for your commitment. We are deeply grateful for your support. Likewise, HETS would like to recognize the collaboration and support of the staff of the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico Metropolitan Campus and other HETS members institutions who made this event possible. Like EDP University, we are deeply grateful for your support. We will also like to welcome all participants present in this theater and participants connected virtually. We really appreciate your interest and support. Gracias. Thank you for your time. This historic event brings together for the 5th time in HETS Chronicles an unprecedented amount of experts academicians of highlight the most prominent opportunities to enhance Hispanic higher education through the savvy use of technology. This outstanding group of professionals creates an extraordinary synergy from which we hope to take you advantage during this event. The HETS Consortium is overly excited to have been able to attain for this event the presence of more than 20 members institutions from Puerto Rico, United States, and Colombia. We also welcome attendees from other institutions and organizations who have demonstrated interest on this topic as well. All HETS institutions are nationally known for being at the forefront of the integration of new technologies to serve its students and specifically the Hispanic community. This was confirmed through the more than 25 proposals received to participate in this event. It will also be demonstrated through the insightful discussions and the opening plenary panel, which HETS will be presenting this morning. Now, as part of welcoming remarks, we would like to introduce Dr. Yuvelgis Montalvo, who was appointed as HETS Executive Director in January 2006. By the Board of Directors, Dr. Montalvo accepted the challenge to guide the organization towards a self-sustainable model and has taken the consortium through a 16 years journey of consistent evolution, expanding its membership, creating new services, and proposing new educational technology options for its constituents. Let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Yuvelgis Montalvo, HETS Executive Director.
Thank you. Thank you so much and good morning. Buenos días para los que están aquí de Puerto Rico y también de Colombia. Bienvenidos. We are pleased that you accepted our invitation and so proud to be able to organize this event once again for our members, collaborators, and peer organizations and institutions, despite the challenges we are facing due to the pandemic. Thank you for your constant support and time. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Executive Committee for supporting the decision to meet again face-to-face during this event, but also in expanding our reach by conducting this event virtually, allowing us to transmit live all presentations, starting with this opening plenary panel. And welcome to the more than 30 that are connected already. Thank you so much. As a pioneer organization in the use of technology in higher education, HETS is ready to continue serving your academic community during this new academic scenario. With its expertise and services, definitely the Best Practices Showcase is an opportunity for academic leaders from member institutions to share their vast knowledge and expertise. We hope that this will be an enriching opportunity for all. We greatly appreciate the ongoing support of our members, the valuable collaboration of our corporate partners, and the consistent trust and guidance of the Board of Directors, its Executive Committee, our staff, and especially the outstanding support from our host institution, the Metropolitan Campus of the Inter-American University of Puerto Rico, coordinating all the logistic and technical requirements to connect not only participants, but also virtual presenters. Events like these are the result of team effort. And please help me in welcoming the Chancellor for this campus, Marilina Weyland, that we have token of appreciation to her, and we also would like her to give you brief welcoming remarks. Marilina. You can open this later. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. We are delighted and honored to host this event. I don't know how many times we have hosted this event. You remember?
Like 3 or 4.
And they're always great. I am positive that this will be even better as we continue innovating towards the transformation of our institution, optimizing the use of technology in these after pandemic times. When I met with Juvelkis to start planning this event, I was delighted to hear that your intention was to have this event in a hybrid mode. And we're getting used to the fact that everything now is moving to the hybrid mode. But this morning when I arrived to campus and I saw all the guests that decided to be here in this campus to participate in this event, it gave me an emotion that I was going to be able to greet you in person, and I was going to be able to meet you and share with you your ideas and have a good time. I wish that we have a very productive meeting, that you enjoy being in our campus, and for the people that are remote, we are going to try very hard to share everything good that is happening here. Have a happy day at Metro.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chancellor, for your unwavering support. And finally, as we continue to work together, we will remain carrying out our mission, focusing on the transformation of teaching and learning through technology and the success of Hispanic students. Thank you again for joining us. I hope this event provides you with wonderful opportunities to network with other key leaders, and that you may take away important tools, resources, and lessons to continue enhancing your practice and providing new opportunities for Hispanics in higher education. One last important detail that is not in the program is that the Board of Directors gonna meet at 1:15 at the Senate room, and we need you to have lunch around 12 at the Zoom room in order to be able to be at 1 at the Senate academic Senate room for the meeting, okay? The rest of you can enjoy the rest of the concurrent sessions that our staff can direct you to the different rooms that that we will have all the concurrent sessions. And see you tomorrow again, all together at the track winners panel that will be here at the theater at 9:30 a.m. Thank you so much and enjoy.
Thank you, Dr. Montalvo. To continue with the welcoming remarks, please welcome President Manuel Fernos, President of the Inter-American University and Vice President of the HETS Board of Directors, who kindly offered these outstanding facilities to hold this conference. Please welcome President Fernos.
Good morning, buenos días a todos y todas. It's an honor for Inter-American University to host this best practices showcase activity we started back in 2010. And I can say this, Inter-American University is one of the founding universities of HETS. That's 27 years ago. And I have been president of Inter-American for 23 years, and I have been an active member of HETS ever since. So I think I have the authorities to say this, to make this statement. HETS was, is, and will be a visionary consortium. If you think about it, what we did 27 years ago and what we have been doing, training faculty on how to use technology in the classroom. I think no one was thinking about the coronavirus at the time. But now we're living in a difficult situation because of the coronavirus. And all the results of the effort that HETS has done in these last 27 years are evident. How necessary. You know, prior to the pandemic, Inter-American had 67 online asynchronous courses, distance learning courses. So we have some experience on that, but not all the faculty was trained for the situation. And we had to do it fast. We had the help of HETS. So right now, today is a demonstration of the new reality. We have transformed our classroom into virtual classrooms. We teach with on-site students. At the same time, we have synchronic students attending class from their houses or offices, whatever. So I think HETS has done an excellent job and got us ready for the present situation that we don't know for how long it's going to be with us. So I'm sure that today's experience, the best practices showcase, is going to be very useful for all the members of HETS. Once again, welcome to you to Inter-American University. Thank you.
To conclude our introductory remarks, I would like to present HETS Chairman, Dr. Carlos Morales, who was elected chair of the Board of Directors of the HETS Consortium during the summer board meeting in June 2020. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Carlos Morales, President of Tarrant Community College, Canet Campus, and HETS Chair of the Board.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Bienvenidos, buenos días. It is very happy to be here in Puerto Rico. Just so you know, out of the script, it is snowing in Fort Worth, Texas, where I live. So it's good to be with this weather this morning. I want to number one, thank everybody for being in attendance here physically and also virtually for this 2022 HETS best practices showcase. We have a program that is full of activities that are based on that, but the best practice and how we are able to showcase that work from the very diverse membership of HETS. Okay, we are originating in Puerto Rico, but of course have a large membership in the United States and also in Latin America. So all of that work is coming to fruition and then converging here at the HETS best practice. So with that said, I think that we can go to the next aspect here of the presentation and program this morning. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Morales. And now we will continue with our opening plenary panel. The Hispanic Educational Technology Services Consortium has distinguished itself as a forefront organization in the integration of technology for the advancement of higher education and learning opportunities for the Hispanic community. Moreover, the HETS Consortium has elevated collaboration to a new rank, bringing together higher education institutions from the United States, Puerto Rico, internationals, and representatives from the government, private, and academic sectors for the past 28 years. These sectors are represented in the 2022 HETS Best Practices Showcase, validating the importance of collaboration for the success of Hispanic students in our community. In our interest to continue the discussion of having a stronger educational system and equal access to higher education, we have invited a distinguished panel of our member institutions in Puerto Rico and the United States, who will be sharing their experiences and expertise on the topic of the evolution of instructional modalities post-pandemic. The HETS Consortium is proud to open the best practices showcase with the following speakers: Dr. Alice Casanova from EDP University, Carlos Guevara from Hostos Community College, Francisco García from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, and Dr. Mauricio Cadavid from California State University, San Bernardino. Finally, it is a privilege to have Dr. Carlos Morales, HETS Chair of this plenary moderator, who will introduce our panelists and begin the discussion. Please help me welcome them with a round of applause.
Okay, I think we are live. Good morning again. Thank you for your attendance to the HETS showcase this year. Let me just get my paper here. Okay, and it is a pleasure for me to be the moderator of this panel that, as you see on the program, we will try to discuss and shed some light in regards to the evolution of the instructional modalities post-pandemic. As the colleagues that preceded me, President Fernos and Chancellor Weiland, the current situation of the coronavirus has triggered the creativity of many of us in education to try to resolve, right? This has been also almost 2 years in this particular endeavor with the challenges, trying to still know what is the best way for us to deliver education in a very different set of circumstances. This morning, we will try to shed some light along those lines. You have already heard about each of the members here in terms of their backgrounds and universities. They are also they have another set of traits, which are they are part of the HETS Leadership Academy in many ways, in ways of being faculty members and also in ways of being alumni of the academy, if you will. So with that said, I'm going to start with the first topic here, just to break the ice in terms of the conversation. Okay, I want to start by saying that you have a combination here of institutions that are public, private, 2-year, 4-year research, research one institutions. Okay, so with that said, you will see how each of them will be and have been advancing the cause of education, advancing the cause of instructional technology, distance education for their institutions and their students as well. With that, let me mention once again, Dr. Alice Casanova from EDP University. We have Carlos Guevara from Hostos Community College. We have Francisco García from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. And we have Mauricio, I forgot your last name, I'm sorry. Cadavid from California State University, San Bernardino. And again, as I said, each of them represent an institution with its own set of characteristics. I'm going to start with the first question, which is in this particular phase, post-pandemic, how the different modalities, instructional modalities, professional development, and maybe the creation of policies have been driving this work so far. So with that point of reference, I will ask Dr. Casanova to start us off on that regard. And if you can also provide a little more context about your institution.
Buenos días a todos. Good morning, everyone. Como mencionaron los compañeros, mi nombre es Alice Casanova, yo soy la decana institucional de educación a distancia para EDP University. Somos una institución privada sin fines de lucro con un programa, ¿no? Una división de educación a distancia que atiende 7 programas completamente en línea y como todos hemos tenido que durante la pandemia, pues el 100% de nuestros programas de alguna forma mantenerlos híbridos. Fue para nosotros un proceso bastante fácil, toda vez que teníamos un andamiaje, somos una institución muy tecnológica, pero no es el medio, es el fin. Así que el proceso de transferir todo lo que de alguna forma comenzamos a crear como educación a distancia, ya teníamos políticas muy dirigidas para nosotros definir lo que es la educación a distancia de lo que fue, pues aún la educación por emergencia ha sido la clave para garantizarle al estudiante poder tener esa diferencia en ese mindset de lo que es la educación por emergencia y lo que es la educación a distancia, que más adelante, y como hemos discutido en la academia y muchos de ustedes en sus respectivas instituciones sabemos, vamos a recibir en los próximos años el resultado de ese, mezcla, de no de alguna forma definir qué realmente es esa política de lo que es la educación a distancia, de lo que es el diseño instruccional y la planificación para que medie la educación a través de la tecnología. Y un poco que miremos, ¿no? El docente como ese motor y ese gestor que de alguna forma acompañado de otros profesionales, pues el diseño instruccional requiere de especialistas y de profesionales. El diseño instruccional es una profesión, el colega de alguna forma esa es su profesión, así que es una profesión. El docente es ese especialista y ese motor, y ellos son esos artistas que transforman esas ideas y ese contenido para que realmente pueda ser exitoso. Así que a nivel de policy es muy importante destacar lo que es el programa, el curso y el estudiante completamente en línea, del que está de alguna forma híbrido. ¿De qué forma está híbrido? Si está híbrido por un programa, si está híbrido porque el curso es híbrido, y facilitarle finalmente a nivel de desarrollo profesional al docente el que pueda gestionar esta nueva realidad. Aquí, pues, en algún otro momento el auditorio hubiese estado lleno, nos hubiésemos abrazado más que darnos la mano y todos hubiésemos podido reconocer en nuestros rostros expresiones. La tecnología nos va a continuar facilitando el que esto sea posible y que esa distancia transaccional facilite de alguna forma lo que es el fin último, que es que el estudiante adquiera competencia.
I'm going to try to summarize that in English really quick. Dr. Casanova is Dean of distance education programs at EDP University, and she's responsible for over 7 programs that are fully online. And she has been instrumental in facilitating the transition to remote education, knowing that the expertise resides pretty much in distance education. She spoke about how technology has been an enabler to not only to the learning of the students, but also how faculty can continue to reach to the students in their role. She spoke about the importance of instructional design, and there are several on this table that by background, by study, and by passion know about instructional design, and that is the consultant that helps the faculty translate, right, those activities into from one medium into another medium that may be a little different. She also mentioned the importance of hybrid education as a way of again facilitating those learning styles, and how technology will continue to facilitate the work we all do in education as once again as an enabler on that endeavor. So thank you, Dr. Casanova, for that. I'll ask Carlos Guevara for his remarks in regards to again the first question, which is, or the first topic, post-pandemic, the modalities, professional development, and maybe policy as well.
Thank you, and thank you for having me in this great panel. And just as Alice was talking, in trying to identify how I will do my transferring of listening in Spanish and then trying to get my mindset in going back and speaking English, it's a very similar example of what our students have been doing, trying to learn a different set of skills, a different language per se, in how they will adapt to this transition. I think that is something that we have been facing, and there has been a lot of talk about traditional students and how even before the pandemic, our students have been, changes. Those are changing, and they are not the same, and we have to make sure that then the institutions adapt to be able to provide those services to our students. And what the pandemic has done is just accelerated everything that had to happen. For some of the institutions, like Alex's institution, my institution, we had the fortune to have a team, a stable team that were able to start developing best practices, protocols, trainings for faculty, so that then they were able to understand what it takes to teach online, what it takes to provide good education in hybrid instruction and so on. When we came to the pandemic, it was like I used to say in other forums, the Wild West, in that we just took hybrid and we call hybrid to everything that we could even teach, right? And we abused, in a sense, the definition in providing the instruction. There was purpose. We are 2 years into the pandemic, and think it is important for us to go back, take advantage of what was good from us being exposed, right? Moving from that barrier to adapt or embrace the technology, but then we have to make sure that we go back and identify how we could assess and how we could take advantage of those elements, positive elements, and start implementing through policy, making sure that policy is reflective of the new reality, and making sure that we put a lot of emphasis on instructional design, instructional technology, and support. We want to make sure that the decisions that are being made are putting this into context, so that we're able to serve the new traditional student, and making sure that for that new traditional student, we are able to have a new traditional institution, new traditional modalities, so that our students become more engaged. We are facing enrollment attrition across the board, everywhere. And we want to make sure that we identify, we learn the reasons why our students are leaving our institutions. We know that there's a lot of other risks or other factors that are contributing to this, but then we have to make sure that we do that self-reflection and identify what we can do as institutions, and making sure that then we're able to react to what we're seeing.
Thank you. I'll ask Francisco to provide his perspective from his institution on a similar point.
Thank you, Carlos, and again, thank you for the invitation, being part of this panel. At UT Rio Grande Valley, I mean, we got pre-pandemic, and just to put this into a context, we got policies in place for high quality online courses, hybrid courses. We got a team of instructional designers. We have a complete team of instructional technologists that support faculty, providing professional development and all those things for the 20+ online courses that we offer pre-pandemic. But then, yeah, 2020 pandemic, COVID arrived, and then everything changed. We got also a academic continuity plan, being on the border by the sea, subject to hurricane, just like Puerto Rico. So we got some basis, right, to continue or moving forward and facing those problems that the pandemic brought into the institutions, actually into everywhere. But that was our basis. I mean, there was something that we have. Of course, it was a certain amount of faculty, the innovators, right, who were always looking for new pedagogies, new technologies, bringing new things to students into their courses. So we got that in place, like I said. And then after or during COVID, we decided to, again, provide professional development for remote teaching, which is an emergency teaching, right? But then summer 2020, we decided to go a step beyond that and come up with a professional development for high quality online courses, preparing for fall 2021. So we got this initiative from my vice president, in which we train about 300 faculty members in teaching, like I said, online. We're a Quality Matters institution, so we certify those faculty to be QM certified, and also provide best practices in teaching and learning. Again, there was only 300 faculty plus the ones that we have, but there was always those faculty who were somehow backing up a little bit in the use of technology and other things. We'll continue now providing trainings, professional developments for hybrid, whatever hybrid means in different institutions, right? Combination of face-to-face and some online activities. But there's always something new. So again, be grateful to have a passionate group of instructional design, instructional technologies that support faculty during this process. Now, post-pandemic, or actually we call it post-vaccination because the pandemic still, there's also plans to continue and moving forward to professional development that Alice was saying. I mean, that's the key. Faculty are the front line. They're the ones who are dealing with the students on a day-to-day basis. So we want to prepare faculty and make sure that they succeed in classes, because we know that if faculty succeed, the students will succeed automatically. So.
Thank you, Francisco. I'm going to ask Mauricio Cadavid from California State University, San Bernardino, for his points.
Thank you, Carlos. With the 30 seconds that I have left after my colleagues have spoken, I'll try to be brief. We'll adjust, right? That's the word of post-pandemic adjustment and going with the flow. So I'm Mauricio Cadavid. I'm the senior instructional designer for our department, which is Academic Technologies and Innovation. California State University, for just a little bit of context, we are one of 23 campuses, public university in the CSU system. And The reason why that is important to bring up is because when it comes to policies or implementing policies within the campus, we have to, make sure that we go within what the chancellor wants for the system, but as well as paying attention to what our students, right, the students that we serve, actually benefits them. And we are a brick and mortar university, so we have a very small number of online programs. I've been in campus for about 18 years. We had about five programs that were online. And one of the things that happened during, the pandemic and post-vaccination is some of the challenges that we encounter is we're very big in understanding this idea of equity and equality, right? And we are first generation serving institution. We have about 67% of Hispanic students. And we had this idea that we are all connected, that we're all on Facebook, that we're all on Instagram, that we are on our smartphones. And we had developed a false idea that it was going to be an easy transition to online, right? That students and faculty are just going to simply be happy to be able to take classes, in their pajamas, et cetera. The moment that we moved, close to 22,000 students, back in early 2020, a little bit over 1,000 faculty, and then the staff, right? One of the things that we don't talk about is the staff, because everybody went remote. There are certain practices and procedures that had to happen inside the university, right? So we started to identify that first, there was a technology gap, that not all students had proper equipment, and even if they had proper equipment, they didn't have the network capabilities to actually connect, right? Some of the things that we didn't know is it was their mental state for Zoom fatigue, right? Zoom after Zoom after Zoom, et cetera. And the fact that because of the type of instructions that we do, even if we have excellent faculty, that does not necessarily translate into excellent online faculty, right? And so all of these things came, crossing for my department, and I have my VP here, the one that oversees everything, Dr. Sam Sudhakar. And it was very clear that before we could actually help students, that there were going to be a lot of things that needed to be put in place. We were only 5 instructional designers for the whole university, and all of a sudden we needed to put courses online. We quickly identified that just because something is online doesn't mean that it's quality online. Faculty thought online is, I'm going to give them the syllabus, 2 or 3 quizzes, tell them to buy the book online, we're done, right? And so all of a sudden students are dropping out of classes. We had a large dropout of students who decided, I cannot do this online. I'm going to have to, wait a year and then come back to school. And so it starts to have a snowball effect, right, of all of these different things. Our VP did a very, very good job at, providing the support that was necessary for networking, for us to be able to do our job the best way that we could online, to be able to have access to the internet. We have a laptop program that I could talk about later, which we are now providing laptops to students. We are about to start an iPad program for freshman students and transfer students. But with all of that comes training. And I know those of you who are faculty here don't like the word training, professional development. And that was perhaps one of the biggest challenges, which was to help faculty understand the basic principles of sound pedagogy for online. And we'll talk more a little bit about that, but that's a little bit of what has been going on. Even though we are back in person because of the Delta that happened in spring, all of a sudden we had to go back, and because of Omicron, all of a sudden we had to go back. And in each iteration that things like that happen, we try to go like, remember what happened last year? We're ready for that right now. And it seems like you take care of one thing and then something else happens, and adaptability has been one of the biggest lessons I think we've learned for the past, 2 years.
We'll have you again address this other part that our membership and audience will benefit hearing from. Can you talk about what has been the adoption rate, if you will, and the way users, right, and faculty, even, you know, instructional design staff, you know, instructional technology staff have been adopting technology on a post-pandemic and now what post-vaccination. So Mauricio, we can start with you again briefly.
Briefly.
Yes.
Yes, I think it has been really important to, in order to increase adoption, both on faculty and with regards to support of, for them to know that they're not alone, you know, for them to know that they have an ITS support system. Our VP is very big at saying world-class customer service. Some of us receive emails at 11 o'clock, you know, at night. Some of us receive emails at 5 in the morning, because faculty said, well, Mauricio, now I'm being told I need to use this software. I have no idea what it's for or what I can do and how it benefits the students. What can you do? We think in order for us to help students indirectly, we have to help faculty. If faculty feel heard, if faculty feel that they are not alone, if faculty feel that technology is not being pushed on them, but that it is actually, you know, provided to them as a support for what they need to do, and making sure that technology works, the retention of that technology actually increases. And some of the things that we've done, again, we can talk later with regards to how can we, or what can we provide students access to labs, for example, you know, through virtual labs, et cetera, to help them still feel part of the university, right? One of the big problems with retention rates is once students do not come into the university, they feel that they're not part of the university. There is a sort of a distancing, a disassociation. But, you know, by doing some of the things that we have done with the faculty and the students, is still making them feel that there is a little bit of community, that they're not alone, and that everybody's sort of experiencing the same things. We've seen some of the retention rates, you know, go up. We started to see more students come back to the university. We're starting to see more class offerings, you know, sections offerings, and so it's in the uprise right now.
Yes, thank you. Let me ask Carlos Guevara, you know, for his brief remarks in regards to that aspect on, again, the adoption post-pandemic and post-vaccination, as we are saying.
I think it's been a little more openness to try new technologies. You know, the challenge of time remains the same. There's this saying, and I will develop it, will they come? And I think it's because we haven't connected the professional development needs to my actual workload, to make sure that then we take this one and we embrace it as part of our culture, in that, you know, it is expected for me to use the resources to have professional development in a continuous improvement approach, so that this doesn't become an add-on, it doesn't become something extra. And, you know, I'll use this quick analogy on how students take extra credit or extra work when you teach. Usually students won't do that, right? So you have to make sure that you integrate the work into your curriculum to make sure that the students embrace it as part of it. We have to make sure that we shift and think about the same way in how we are instituting professional development in the culture of the institutions.
Alice, if you can give us your perspective and your institution's perspective along those lines.
Cuando comenzó todo el proceso de la pandemia, el primer requisito de nuestra presidenta fue que nos aseguráramos que cada estudiante tenía una computadora, cada estudiante realmente pudiese tener los recursos. Ese proceso de transición y de adoptar la tecnología en una institución que todo estudiante va a tomar al menos un curso en línea, porque hemos sido una institución fundada desde la tecnología. Así que era pan nuestro de cada día, por decirlo de alguna forma. Y lo más importante fue, como reiteramos todos de alguna forma, cómo abrazamos la tecnología como el medio y la facultad, y el docente lo ve como esa herramienta que va a facilitar el que continuemos operando, que el estudiante continúe recibiendo el servicio, y cómo día tras día, ¿verdad? O periodo tras periodo, maximizamos esas tecnologías y hacemos más atractivo ese curso y ese contenido para con el estudiante. No todos van a remar y no todos se van a montar en un barco. Muchos, yo siempre he dicho que esto es algo que se vive, se siente y hay que creer que es posible. Habrán disciplinas particulares y habrán docentes particulares que su cátedra es presencial y se las respetamos. La tecnología o la educación a distancia, como decía la colega Omaira Caraballo en alguna presentación hace algún tiempo, no es un trajecito one size fits all para todo el mundo. Hay que de alguna forma, requiere inversión de recursos, o sea, no ha sido para ninguna institución fácil la transición, asegurarnos que todos de alguna forma tengamos los mecanismos. Al inicio, el compañero decía, María nos dio una excelente lección. Yo creo que el reto aquí es cuán preparados estamos para todo eso incierto, porque nadie esperaba un COVID-19. Quizás todos esperamos, específicamente en Puerto Rico, quizás algún otro evento atmosférico y no algo que no tenga que ver nada con infraestructura, sino con simplemente ese distanciamiento social, como le han llamado.
I'm going to summarize really quick here. Ali started pointing to an expectation or a mandate, if you will, from her president, making sure that every student have access to a computer, because that is related to student success. This strategy help with the support for students to be not only successful, but in alignment with a practice they have, which is for students to take at least one online course through her journey at the institution. She talked also about how technology needs to be embraced at all levels, but mostly for teaching and learning, and how faculty should, or how we can create more conditions for faculty to do all that. She also talked about the passion aspect, that you need to live this. So you really need to like using technology for teaching and learning, and how you then foster that approach and how you make it contagion for others. She pointed, I'm going to translate as much as I can this one without getting in trouble, but there are some subjects that are face to face, and that's fine, right? But then don't fight online. I guess is the way I can summarize it, right? Because again, is the very same way it's a learning style, it's also a teaching style, and all of them should be living in an ecosystem. And of course that this is part of an investment the institution will continues to make along those lines. I think we can ask Francisco for his perspective along those lines.
Yeah, hearing my colleagues, it reminds me an interview that I have from my campus, a newspaper, and it was about what is my recommendation for students going through this pandemic process. And my answer was, you're not alone. I mean, there's a group of technology people, a group of instructional people that will help you. Yes, granted, not everybody has a computer at home. Not everybody has internet at home. There was, especially like in the Rio Grande Valley, rural areas where there is no way to have access to the internet. I mean, that was a challenge also for a faculty. So our response to the faculty was, okay, just take this step by step. Don't go and use all the bells and whistles that is in the LMS or other technologies. Think about the students. What type of access the student have or has in terms of technology and other things. Now, the Center for Online Learning, the department that I direct, is not an IT department, although I wish we can have all the access that IT has in terms of monies and other things, right? But we partner with them a lot. and they support also students a lot. There was this anecdote with they have to increase the wireless access points into the parking lots. For students who don't have access at home, they can drive. They don't have to go into the campus, just drive into the parking lots and bring their computers, their laptops, so they can do their homeworks. I mean, like I said, there was a lot of things that happened at the university and continue to happen because, again, this is not over yet. We're helping as much as we can, faculty and students. And going back to my phrase that faculty succeed is equal to students succeed.
We'll have you again on this next aspect, and in one way or another, the panelists have been addressing this next theme, if you will, and it's about what type of structures were present in our institutions pre-pandemic, right? That then allow the institution to manage or handle the emergency better. So let's start with you, Francisco. What are those aspects that were in place before the actual pandemic started?
Yes, as I mentioned in my first answer, I mean, we had policies in place before pandemic to design, deliver high quality online and hybrid courses. Those were the basis of what we have right now, of course. Those have changed, been improved, constantly working with academic affairs, faculty affairs, even student affairs, because we wanted to address the challenges of the students. And just a quick example is during the pandemic, we moving to an online, either synchronous or asynchronous. Of course, students being students, right, and wanted to have that interaction with other students. Moving forward to fall 2021, they wanted to have face-to-face courses, but at the same time, they wanted to have or continue to take advantage of the technology. So that's why we came up with more support for faculty in the hybrid modality. Again, whatever hybrid means, right? But it was the support that we already have, or before pandemic has, that was adopted and modified and support faculty and students during and post-pandemic or post-vaccination.
Thank you. Mauricio, if you can give us the perspective from your institution.
Thank you. So as I mentioned, we were a brick and mortar, university. And so we always thought that online was going to be a small part. We were going to put resources and make sure that that small part was fantastic. When pandemic occurred, some of the policies that we realized that we even still working through it, for example, have to do with things that we never considered, such as do students have the right, are they protected, their privacy by not turning their Zoom camera on, right? We didn't think about that because in a face-to-face class, the students come into the classroom, right? So you're not thinking about it, but now all of a sudden, we're finding that students are taking care of sick relatives or that are taking their class from work and does not allow them to have a camera on. And all of a sudden, because there were no policies in place, the use of technology felt punitive. Like all of a sudden, if you don't have your microphone on and you don't have your camera on, then you're going to be absent. And then it became this sort of like, well, if I'm going to have to take an online class where I cannot have my microphone or my camera on, and you're not going to be flexible enough, then I'm just going to drop the class, right? And we started to identify some of these different things, and it happened through, certain departments, some courses, they still required. But the reason why I'm giving that example as an anecdote is the things that we didn't think, pre-pandemic, that are so crucial to student learning. The fact that if there were not policies in place to benefit faculty, to benefit students, then all of a sudden we're making education more of a chore rather than an option for students to be, educated. And in parts, the use of technology such as Responder's lockdown browser, for example, right? That is one of the ones that we use, and we're there, I saw your face, Alice. There is no policy, right? We're thinking from the staff perspective, from the dean's perspective, and some chairs perspective. We're thinking about cheating. Students are going to cheat. Well, we're not thinking about the fact that, for example, computer science students build their own computers and responders does not work, right? And these are students that are far away from campus and they cannot physically come to take, the class online, but there are no policies for that. And our department, I start getting emails from the professor saying, hey, this student, what can we do? He's going to cheat. And because he or she does not want to use responders, what does your office have to do? And I'm always, having to be polite and diplomatic and send it to my director and say, can you answer that? Sort of thing. And so all of these different things about what are we really doing to make education accessible? How do we make these students feel that they are welcome? That we're not thinking that they're going to cheat, right? That we're not thinking that because they're not turning on their camera, right? And some of these things are still being, worked on. I don't know if I answered that, but that's sort of where we are currently are. And again, remember other policies have to do with what about the staff? Like we don't have a telecommuting, policy, right? And so now all of a sudden, we're thinking about, are we protected? Are we able to work from home and still do the job? We were able to do it during 2020 without the policy. But now that we're back on campus and we're wanting to say, hey, we were able to do it, can we go back to 1 or 2 days, doing from home or something where there are no policies for that? It's being worked on. I think something just got worked out, but little things like that we're going to have to learn, implement, and adapt, right? And then once that happens, learn lessons, implement, and adapt.
Thank you. Carlos, if you can give us your perspective really quick.
I think my colleagues mentioned a lot of what I was going to say, but similar to the examples provided before, we had the opportunity to have an online certification process for our faculty. So that was very critical because we were able to quickly adapt and certified almost 100% of the faculty who were teaching. They didn't like it because it was, we had to do it with the circumstances. We had to rush it, but then after they had the opportunity to be teaching for almost 2 years, they have come to appreciate the opportunity they had to go through a process and be able to have the connections with how you will structure your courses to teach online. But then I often have faculty who come and say, well, I'm already and I've been teaching online all of these 2 years. It's like, well, you've been doing remote instruction. So now let's have a conversation to teach online the proper ways. So we have to make sure that we identify how we get to the point where we start discussing online teaching from the pedagogical perspective, from the student engagement perspective. How do we have those opportunities to have our faculty thinking about how to be flexible, and then think about the environments that our students or the challenges that our students have, and how do we adapt, right? We've been playing catch up in terms of policy making, right? Oh, this did not work. Okay, let's change it. Since we're in emergency mode, we're changing policies every time. Remember pre-pandemic, how long it took for us to change policies and protocols and processes at our institutions, and especially if you have big institutions like the size of my institution, CUNY, it's very complex to change policies that will impact 25 campuses. So, but the opportunity that we have here, this has been a huge pilot. The recommendation is that you want to bring new technologies, do a pilot, try it first, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then implement it. Look at this as we've been doing a huge pilot with a lot of participants. Now let's learn from all of these lessons from the pilots and let's implement it the right way.
Thank you. As we transition to Alice, those of you on the chat and of course here in the audience, if you are interested in asking a question, please start, aligning those thoughts. Alice, give us your perspective.
Cuando mencionó Mauricio Lockdown Browser y cualesquiera de otras herramientas a las que nos enfrentamos, porque la educación a distancia es más regulada y vigilada que la presencialidad. El doctor Meléndez pudo haber tenido en la Universidad de Puerto Rico un estudiante todo el semestre que no fuera quien decía ser, pero como era presencial nadie lo dudaba. Así que, sin embargo, tras el monitor dudamos, o tan pronto se cae una conexión o tan pronto hay un tiempo X, es que pues hay fraude académico y la integridad de alguna forma se ve. Así que, como mencionaban los colegas, las políticas están allí y no es hasta que tenemos este gran escenario de probar nuestros propios procesos que nos vamos, ¿verdad?, enfrentando a los diversos retos que esto tiene. No solo por la diversidad de población que atendemos, sino porque cuando pensábamos que tenías todas las respuestas, el Departamento de Educación Federal y las acreditadoras nos cambiaron las preguntas. Entonces tenemos que volver a redefinir nuestros conceptos. Y como mencionaba al inicio, y para que Mauricio no me siga tomando el tiempo, un poco intentar, ¿no?, justificar o de alguna forma probar que este proceso que hemos pasado con la pandemia, todas las instituciones lo que hemos hecho en un acto de buena fe es confiar en el proceso para que el estudiante continúe recibiendo el servicio, para que la facultad se sienta apoyada. Y el reto mayor que de alguna forma todos tuvimos es que de recibir quizás 10, 20 llamadas diarias se convirtieron en 100, 150 y 200 llamadas diarias, porque estaba el 100% de nuestra población en algún lugar del mundo intentando continuar con esto. Así que las políticas en el caso nuestro estaban allí. De alguna forma, como les mencioné, nuestra división comenzó muy sólida en términos de ese cimiento, ¿no?, en lo que es la política, el proceso, la estructura. Y la pandemia vino a probar cuán sólidos estaban, y cuando pensábamos que todo estaba finitado, pues llegaron los cambios y entonces pues comenzamos nuevamente.
Thank you, Alice. In summary, distance education is much more regulated than face-to-face, which then always triggers the doubt, right, on the student vis-a-vis somebody that could be in an amphitheater like this, on the back row, and said that, attended, but we don't know if it is the real person that enrolled in the course. So again, that is an aspect that is always challenging. It is not, she mentioned also that it's not until an emergency or a situation occurs that then we notice that there may be an issue, right? I mean, the policies and the plans are outlined in a way that, think for the worst, if you will, but then, it's not always perfect. She also mentioned the ever-changing nature of accreditors and the Department of Education, especially in this particular phase in which we are. And the other important aspect is the sudden change that all of us experience, and especially in her institution, when they used to take maybe 20 calls per day or per week, if you will, to now hundreds of calls on a per day or a per week basis, simply because there is more need for support for all those constituents. And again, she pointed to the policies and the importance of such in our daily work, if you will, as an institution. I think that we are ready for questions from the audience. Yubelkis, if you have any questions from the chat, we'll be more than happy to address them.
Yes, hi. Let me come here so everybody can hear me. And we have some comments, no questions so far, that I would like to share. In the meantime, the ones in person can use, please approach the microphones, because we want everybody to hear what is happening here. And we have more than 60 people connected already. So on the chat, after my welcome everyone, Hermes said one concern of faculty is how to avoid cheating. Beyond the strategies faculty may implement or tools that the institution has available for exams and assignments, today students use different strategies, including sites where they can pay to get solutions. And to that, Joel Lugo, I think he's from Interamerican Ponce, in Ponce, said, Hermes, in Puerto Rico, we use third-party applications for remote proctoring. This does not assure that the students will not cheat, but it makes it very hard for them to do it. There are several options for this matter. And he finished saying, hope this helped. So that's what we have already here on the chat. Any other comments? And Samuel Sudakar, that he's here, but he's online too, says fantastic, fantastic panel. So thank you. You are in both, in hybrid mode like me. So I think we have a question here. Please say your name, your institution, and then approach. You can say it in Spanish because as you may see, we have a wonderful translator in Dr. Carlos Morales, our chairman. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Dr. García. I'm from Inter San Germán, and I was a student in the Academy of Leadership and Learning Technologies.
Oh, yes, you,
So,
you are, yeah.
Very happy to see many of my professors and also a classmate. So, first, excellent panel, and I'm 100% happy to see that what you have been saying is basically what a professor that likes technology has been experiencing. So my question is going to be a little bit of playing the devil's advocate for the laggers in that curve that we saw with Dr. Guevara in his presentation. So something that I see or I don't agree quite much is with this idea that technology facilitates. Something that I experience with my students, my Hispanic students, first generation, and with my professors, my colleagues, is that technology ended up being a problem. Now trying to develop a training program for professional development with my professors, I did a needs analysis. And something that is really interesting is that they're not really interested in technology, and students either. What they are interested is in connections. So something that I learned is that technology does not facilitate anything. Technology is an instrument. So what we need to do with our students and with our professors is communicate better. And in these circumstances, we have to do it through technology. But that implies, and I think that some of you mentioned, is that we need training. Students can have a computer, can have an iPad, but sometimes they don't know that they can just switch browsers because Blackboard doesn't work with some cookies that they put in Chrome. With responders, they think that, oh, this is an invasion of my privacy. But something that I clarify with my students is that we need to prove your identity. If we don't, federal agencies can deny our offering your the federal need or the federal aid that you get. And actually, then after I clarify that and after I troubleshoot everything, nobody complained. They all took it. They didn't cheat. Why? Because I set up exams that you cannot teach. It's open book. They can do harder things than just objective assessments. So what I would like to take to my faculty, the ones that said like technology, I don't like technology, why do I have to learn this, is how would you define more specifically facilitation? Or do you agree that actually technology does not facilitate what we want to facilitate? That's my question.
And anybody that wants to react?
Thank you for that comment. And what I'm saying, I'm also a faculty, but I'm coming from the instructional design perspective. So I have conversations like this on a daily basis. And by daily, I mean Saturdays and Sundays as well. Authentic learning experiences is one of the things that I've been trying to push. One of the examples that I try to give faculty is if you need to go to the grocery store and you want a vehicle, do you go and get a Ferrari with all of the different tools because you're going to have that, where you can actually just ride a bicycle with a basket and still be able to do what you need to do? And I know it sounds silly to some, but the idea is that using technology for the sake of technology creates more problems than it facilitates. As an instructional designer, I get a lot of faculty saying, Mauricio, I just came from this conference and this person show how they use this. Can we use it? The first thing that I do is, are they using the technology to teach, or are they using the technology to help students learn? Because if we are able to identify why are we using the technology, is this an instrument for teaching or is this an instrument for learning? Plus the fact that we are a public institution, we also have to point out that, well, we don't have the thousands of dollars that the technology does for just this particular thing. And the other thing is that I try to get faculty to remember, if they can, why they went into teaching. You know, everybody who teaches goes into teaching for a particular reason. They love being in the classroom because they like to see those aha moments from the students, right? Because they love the chalk, because they love to be able to have students be centered in their own learning, but they feel that they lose that. They lose their identity, you know, by using technologies. And so one of the things that I do with them is help them identify what would be the minimum requirement of technology, quote unquote, that you could use in your class that still achieve the maximum learning for your students, right? And sometimes it could be something as simple as Padlet, you know, just for note taking, right? They don't have to buy things. They don't have to invest in things. And hopefully what I want faculty to come to the realization is that technology should be seamless. Like they don't even know that they're using it, that they're teaching what they need to teach and that students are learning what they need to learn, and that there's no learning curve. If you have to spend hours and watch tutorial videos just to learn how to do one particular thing, when students already have so many things to do, right? Is it really worth using that particular technology to accomplish what you need? So authentic learning experiences, I think that also goes into whether or not students are going to feel like they need to cheat or not, right? If you develop a course that is based on a midterm and a final, guess what? Those students are going to pay a service to to find the questions, talk to prior students, etc. But if you develop a course with journals, discussions, writings in which students feel that they can participate, that is summative and formative at the same time, and that they are experiencing authentic learning, students, what I've seen, have less tendency to have that pressure of high-stake testing, like they need to do something, to cheat. So.
Thank you. Do we have another question?
Yes, we have one more question, and since we are running out of time, I think that's gonna be the last one. I guess Sam is in the middle of the row, so he preferred to write the question because he's here with us. But the question is, student behavior, or the comment and question at the end, student behavior has changed during the pandemic. Their outlook on higher education has changed. How do we ensure that our students are successful during these times?
Who wants to start?
Tough question to close this panel. Who is the?
Do you want to start,
who
Carlos?
want to answer?
Carlos, you want to do it in 2 minutes? In 2 minutes.
Well, I think it connects with everything that we have said, and it summarizes also in the previous question that we have to really think or flip our approaches in how we are thinking about technology. We have to ask ourselves the questions of, what is it that I want to accomplish in my class? What is it that I want my students to take away from this class? And then identify whether that technology it actually makes sense. Because if it doesn't, don't use it. We promote technology because that's our job, but that doesn't mean that we are telling you have to use the technologies, because you will encounter that answer that is not going to be facilitating anything. So we have to make sure that then we come into this mindset in looking from the student perspective. Look at how students are coming, why they're coming to us, what is it that they want to accomplish, learn more about their expectations. And as an institution, remember we said, I mentioned earlier that we don't have those traditional students anymore. We shouldn't have a traditional institution anymore. So we have to start thinking of how we are shifting the physical campuses, how we are shifting the way that we provide support, the way that we provide professional development, the way that we embrace also the changes that are going to be happening. We have to be ready, we have to be able to adapt, and making sure that our policies are not set in stone, and those are adaptable policies. How nice would be to have, adaptable policies and not to be taking so long to change.
Okay, anybody else?
Just real quick, I mean, it's gonna sound kind of awkward coming in from us instructional technologies, right? But technologies are tools. I mean, think about you as a faculty member. What is it that you want to accomplish? In our process for delivering or designing online courses, we don't touch technology until the 5th, 6th, 7th week of the training. First, we concentrate on learning objectives, learning outcomes. What is it that the faculty want to accomplish? What is it that what the student needs to learn by the end of the course? And then we decide, or we together with the faculty decide if technology is appropriate for that particular activity or exam or whatever. Now, going back to the exam real quick, I mean, exams in online is rare now. I mean, like Mauricio was saying, I mean, you don't have to have a midterm or a final multiple choice questions. I mean, what do you think about research papers or teamwork or team activities or something like that? I mean, that's where the faculty needs to start changing their mind in how deliver courses. It's not only about the content, but the learning outcomes.
And a 10-second closing remark is that perhaps one of the things that we need to revisit is redefining student success. Student success, we're defining it from the president's office, from the chairs and the dean's office. Faculty are thinking this is what students need to learn, and we're forgetting to ask students what success looks to them. For a student to be able to wake up in the morning, go to work 12-hour days, take care of their kid, and be able to actually complete a reading, that is success to that particular student, right? So what are we doing to facilitate that? What are we doing to be able to help those students reach the level of success? We have a student learning outcomes, and we say by the end of this course, you should be able to, right? Have we asked the students what we think they're able to do, and what are we doing to help the students reach what their success looks like? Their success is different than what we think our success for the students are.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I want to thank our engaged audience here on the face-to-face setting as well as on the virtual setting. And if you can help me thank our panelists this morning with a round of applause. It is good to see the combination of faculty members in their daily responsibilities, instructional design, directors, administration, the whole buffet of responsibilities, but also the important aspect that they are faculty members for the HETS Leadership Academy as well as alumni. So again, thank you for your attendance. Yubelkis, back to you.
Thank you for these extraordinary presentations. Your commitment with the improvement of education is truly inspirational. Let's give them a round of applause once again. I would like to welcome to the stage, she's right here next to me, Dr. Yubelkis Montalvo, for a special recognition to the HETS Learning Technologies Leadership Academy faculty and the class of 2021, first to graduate. So go ahead.
Thank you, Albert. And definitely this is a very important step for HETS as an organization focused on integrating technology in higher education. Last academic year, our board of directors approved the proposal of our chairman, Dr. Carlos Morales, to creating the HETS Learning Technologies Leadership Academy. The idea was to create a professional development program focused on developing the next generation of leaders to serve at the Hispanic serving institutions, to promote and facilitate the adoption of teaching and learning technologies, who work together with a group of extraordinary faculty members to develop the HETS Academy program, and the designated evaluation committee selected 13 participants who joined 8 online synchronous conference back in August 2022. This was, without any question, a very enriching journey for both faculty of our participants. After completing the academy curriculum, participants started developing projects, and during this best practices showcase, we will have the opportunity to see 3 of those projects from Mauricio Cadavid, looking on his presentation on the program, Amanda Taylor, and also from our track winner that will be tomorrow in the plenary at 9:30, Janet Flores, and also she will be presenting in one of the concurrent sessions. After this successful first edition in English, this semester, we will be offering the Spanish edition of the HETS Learning Technologies Leadership Academy, scheduled for March 29 through April 1, 2022. We invite you to visit the HETS website at hets.org to learn more and to submit your application to participate. You have until March 4 to do that, and we already are starting sending emails to invite you to do that. But today, we would like to celebrate the success of this initiative and recognize the outstanding faculty and the first graduates of the HETS Academy. First, I want to present our chairman, Dr. Carlos Morales, the creator of this academy and member also of its faculty. Dr. Carlos, please.
Thank you, Belkis. Well, thank you for the I guess the honor, if you will. But this is what we need to do in order to move the agenda forward of Hispanic serving institutions. You heard that the topic is a very passionate topic, so how we can continue creating the next cadre of professionals in this area is very important. So happy to do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And we want to follow with Dr. Juan Tito Melendez. Could you please come to the stage? And I will still continue saying the rest so we can have at the end a group picture of all the academies and the graduates that are today with us. Also, Javier Zavala from the University of Puerto Rico, Bayamón campus. Carlos Guevara here with us from Hostos Community College. I'm gonna stop so I don't wanna miss because there are personalized gifts inside of these boxes. So Tito, go over here so we can have a picture. Javier, check it out. Carlos, bueno, my assistant and NC, Albert, is making sure everybody get their own because I have the name on it. Please make sure you have it. And also I want to follow with Francisco García, please. Alice Joanna, that is part of the faculty as well from EDP University, and Francisco, as you know, is from University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley. Also, we have Dr. Ana Milena Lucumi. Ana Milena, she's a former vice president at Nuuk University, and now she is working with other organizations and still a professor. And now this is the faculty. Let's take a picture first with the faculty and then with the rest. So Mauricio, stay here. You have to approach in the front. The light. No, in front of the. Sí, no. This is the faculty and then Okay, stay here because then we're gonna have. And out of the 13 graduates, we have 4 here with us. Janet Flores from California State University, San Bernardino. Janet, where are you? She went because she's presenting. She's presenting. Karen, can you please call Janet Flores? I think she's in C. So you can join us very quickly. She's presenting after the break. Mauricio, come over here from California State University, San Bernardino, one of our very active participants during these 4 intense days. And Margaret Diaz from EDP University. Margaret. And also, finally, Ana Graciela Tesan from Inter-American University, San Germán campus. We also would like to say hi and congratulate the ones connected virtually that we have from different institutions in Texas, also in Louisiana, and also in California. Now we can have a picture with everyone, and I'm with. Tesan is over here. Oh, yeah. We're not gonna forget you at all. So thank you so much. And with this, espérate, Janet, yeah. Janet Flores, that I invite you to come to Hall C to see her presentation. And tomorrow you will have the opportunity to see the highlights in the track winners plenary as well. So after the picture, our NC will give you some final details, very important details, and then we're gonna start sharp at 11 a.m. our concurrent sessions. Remember that board members can join the 11 concurrent session, but at 12 they have to go to the Zoom to have lunch, and then at 1:15 we start sharp for the board of director meeting. Wait for me in the picture. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, congratulations.
Gracias. El tema no termina porque imagínate tú.
Congratulations, everyone. With this plenary panel, we officially open the 2022 HETS Best Practices Showcase, inaugural event. We're invited to attend the breakout sessions. The rooms in which each presentation will be taking place are identified on the conference program. Before we conclude the session, we would like to share some important news and instructions. We want to point out that there is a simultaneous translation available for the Spanish presentations. HETS are available at Hall A, where the Spanish presentations will be held. For those participants connecting virtually, an icon of interpretation will be available at the bottom of the virtual room to select the language of your preference. For the English presentations, the closed captions feature is available in English. Also, all presentations are being recorded and will be uploaded at the HETS website during the following weeks. An email will be sent to all participants to invite you to visit hets.org to access all videos. You are encouraged to share them among your colleagues. If you are interested in receiving a continuing education certificate for this event with 12 content hours for a fee of $15, make sure you access the link to complete the form at the registration area. For those connected virtually, look for the link included in the email sent in the conference program to request a continuing education certificate. For the in-person participant, have your ledger visible at all times to facilitate access to all presentations, lunches, and coffee breaks. Do not hesitate to stop by the registration area or ask HETS staff if you have any questions or doubts about the event. Finally, thank you for accepting HETS' invitation to participate in its 2022 Best Practices Showcase. We hope you can benefit tremendously from these resources and the networking opportunities available for you during this conference. We will now have 20-minute coffee breaks at the lobby area, and at 11 a.m. all breakout sessions will begin at their respective rooms. El tiempo disponible, sorry? Or the links, thank you. El tiempo disponible para el coffee break va a depender de cuándo se extienda finalmente la sesión de preguntas y respuestas del panel. Así que once again, that was inside, right? Sorry. Perdón. Once again, gracias, thanks, and enjoy the conference.